So I first want to say hello to everybody, and to those that are on Facebook Live. Let's see here. Okay, so namaste, everybody. Baba Sharone here, also known as Reverend Sharon Elizabeth. I know Rick came in and said there's a new person doing the anchoring light called Baba Sharon. Well, of course, I know Rick for many years. So the Baba Sharon spiritual name came a couple of years ago in a dream experience, and they gave me that name. So that is why I use it. I thought I would have had a more exotic name like Shakina, something like that. But anyway, it was Baba, and I added Sharon. So that's that's what we got to go with. That's what they said. Okay, so I just want to welcome everybody. And there is something very special about this anchoring light. And I am on Facebook Live. And for those of you that have looked for us last week, we ran into some technical difficulties and so was not able to get on last week. But what I wanted to say that this particular Monday or today is a special day in that there is a special event that's taking place throughout the day. It's called Fire the Grid 2. Now, Fire the Grid um, is a story, and you can Google this, and I would recommend that you do. Fire the Grid. We are the Fire the Grid is where a woman and her son was driving and they fell over a bridge. They fell over a bridge and into, I believe this was in Canada. I think it was in Canada, but it was someplace where they were driving. It was very cold. And she and her little son, that was in the back seat, drove over a bridge and fell into the water, and she was under the water. And of course, the likelihood of survival for something like that, they were there minutes. She actually got rescued faster, although she was under there for a while, but her son was underneath there in the water for like 6 minutes. It was some time had passed and it was freezing water. But while she was in the car and this was happening, these light beings appeared to her and they told her, they said, listen, you know, you're going to be okay. You just follow these guidelines that we're going to tell you, and everything will be all right. So, anyway, they just said, for your son, you just have to get as much love as you can and pour this love into this child, and he will make it. Well, you could read the story for yourself on Fire the Grid, and they speak of how they took the child out, and he was on life support, and everybody was like, this child is not going to make it. It's just, they trying to break to the mother that there's nothing, and she was like, no, do not pull the plug, no, no, no. She gathered as many people as she could, and they basically, and as these light beings said, just pour love into this child. Well, long story short, after weeks and weeks, the child survived and came back 100% like nothing ever happened. You figured there'd be some sort of, disability or something would have happened. Kid is great. So the concept behind that is just an example, is that really I want to talk a little bit about we are all geometries. We are energetic beings. And if we could see things beyond our very limited spectrum, we are here in these what I call body wraps. And so our sensory perception is very limited. In fact, there's more going on in the invisible world than there is in the physical world. And so, right now, for whatever reasons may be, we don't come into the world like being aware of this. We just come into, a physical three density world where we have five senses for us to understand our environment. Although, when we are little kids, there's another part of us. I would say a sixth sense of us that has always sensed there's something more. But over time, we're conditioned and we lose that part. And as they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so, but more and more, okay, there are more and more people who are becoming and have always been, but now a larger majority of people, let's say, are aware of this sixth sense, this ESP, this higher parts of ourselves that seem to be mysterious, our dreams, the sense of intuition, our feelings, okay? That is just remnants of the true power that we have as spiritual beings. We are spiritual, magnificent beings of light. There's an aspect of us that is here having this physical experience, and the illusion and the delusion is that this is it. This is all that there is. Where you have great avatars of light who have come in, Jesus Christ, Sarasta, Buddha, so many that have come and said, no, this is not just it. There's a lot more going on. But also, too, there are those dynamics, in this creation that would want us to think that this is in fact all there is. What are you talking about? There's nothing more than this. And that has an agenda as to want to keep us, sort of limited when the fact is that we are unlimited. So we're on our journey going back into the true authenticity of who we are, which are these spiritual beings of magnificent light and piercing through the illusion and the delusion. I want to talk a little bit about, as I mentioned today, the fire, the grid. What are the grids? Okay, so the grid, there is a geometric grid around the planet. In fact, when I was in South America, and I was in, I think it was, actually, it was in Bolivia. I was in Bolivia. And I saw like a mesh around everything. It was yellow and it was a hexagon. And so that's part of the geometry that we do have. That these hexagons are all around us. We cannot perceive them, but you have to figure that we are our energies. If we were beyond seeing the physical body that we see ourselves, if we could go into microbiology, you'll see tetrahedrons. You'll see geometries within our very cells, within the nucleus, okay, within the electron spin. We are really geometries, vibrating geometries. And these vibrating geometries that we are connected to other geometries. So if you could think of geometries, whether they're rectangles or the pententacle five, the triangle, the square, all different, and you have to think of it in 3D, three-dimensional. That it's an organic thing, all interconnected to other geometries, which forms various grids. Okay, that go out into eternity, goes out into our solar system, our solar system going into the other suns within our galactic system and beyond that. So these, if you can imagine, like grids. All right, now there's different frequencies of these grids, okay? And the grid that we are in right now as human beings, everything, as I said, is a geometry, and our planet, okay, has some, let's say, distortions or some blockages. They talk of the Christ consciousness, the divine Maitreya, that higher grid energy, it does not able to get in as smoothly and as easily in our grid system of our planet. And so, but we're changing that right now. What's happening right now is that we are having, through the consciousness, okay, again, everything is frequency. So you're having people, and people of old, the prophets and so forth, they've done this, but we're the new team, okay, and what we call light workers or star seeds and wanderers, and we're holding this energetic of light to the planet, and that's going through this grid system, if you will. It's going through the geometries. Okay, so as we're holding light, that the light that we have within us, we're sending a message out there to the higher grid system, to come in and to clean, clear, purify, repair, reconnect, recalibrate our grid system, that we can continue in our ascension into those higher vibratory rates. That's a job. For every light worker, that's our job. That's our job. How do we do that? We start with ourselves, holding in, and maintaining as best as we can the frequency of unconditional love. Compassion and unconditional love, highest frequency in the world. It repairs. It does all kinds of things. You have no idea, because we only are limited to our spectrum, as I said before, but we are truly very powerful beings, and we are co creators. And so, the fire, the grid, these beings, okay, that spoke to this woman, and how she brought through their direction, firing the grid, was to send love, pour love into the grid system of the planet. So, what's happening today, and why this anchoring light is very special, is that we're going to align. Not very often we do, an intention to do something with the anchoring light. As a rule, we just allow how it comes in. It all depends on who shows up. That's how the anchoring light works, is that who shows up is the energetic that, coalesces together. So it's always different. But there are those times where we may have a specific intention. And so I feel for this particular Monday, there is the intention to align our thoughts and love with the millions and millions of people today around the planet that are sending love to the grid system. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to do the same thing. That's what we're going to do. We're going to lend our light, the people who are here presently, both on Zoom and here at the center itself. And for those people who see this later on, and they go on our YouTube and they want to do this, because there's no really time and space. Everything is in the eternal moment. So, when you start to understand the magnitude and the power that we hold, where you can respatialize things, you can open up portals. I mean, there's all kind of things on much higher levels than our current awareness and consciousness, but they absolutely do exist. So, what I wanted to say is, again, we are part of this grid system individually, collectively, planetarily, all of the celestial bodies that move around our logi, our central sun, and all beyond that. So we are here now to fire the grid, where millions of other people are going to do this, with this amazing story, which I'll tell you to Google and find the story for yourself, how this woman and her child, her son, was under freezing water for a long period of time, and the likelihood of survival was very remote, particularly for her son. And he came on the other side of this based on this. So she does have a connection, a conscious connection with these particular beings. I'm not sure where they're from. I don't know where the beings are from, but there's so many benevolent beings around us that love us and support us, from our ancestors, to some galactic relationships that we may have, to the saints, to the ascended masters. There's just so much love that truly is out there. And we have the ability to tap into it and anchor it into our planet, to amplify it. How awesome is that? How awesome for those people who are awake and aware and know that they can do that, just like how we can shift timelines. And next week, I want to talk a little bit more about the timelines, because I am telling you, I know this. I got it. It's like, you know, as they have said, you can have influence on the weather, you can have influence on timelines. If not drastic change, most certainly an influence on timelines. And this has been shown to me vividly. We shifted some timelines already. Our little group, with all the people who pray for peace and stuff, we have actually consciously shifted some timelines where things could have been much more dire than how it came out. So that's another story for another time. So, with that, I'm going to say namaste to our light workers on Facebook Live. As always, it's beautiful for us to have this beautiful connection of hearts and minds together. See you next time.